Now? Can you hear me now? All right, hold on 1 second and we'll be ready to go. All right, thank you all for coming. I'm assuming everyone can hear. Come on in the picture over here, please, and thank you, Chief. I'm Attorney Arnold Reed, and I represent Chief Barton, former Chief Barton. Story doesn't start with the unfortunate tragic fire in May of 2022 that claimed the lives of these two children, as you well know. Mr. Barton was a well-respected member of the community. He had been pretty much a part of this community since second grade. He's loved. He's very well respected. He has given his life to public service. We've gotten numerous phone calls. We've gotten numerous text messages from people in Flint who support Raymond Barton, who send their prayers, who send their love and support, who are demanding that some things be done about how Mr. Barton was treated after all these years of service. We have given you some documentation that is a partial compilation of an investigation that was done by Chief Barton with regard to the death of these children. Two firefighters claimed that they went in the home after a fire was ignited in a downstairs living room area. They went upstairs, they claimed, and searched in the bedroom, did a sweep. One of them had thermal gear on, claimed that there were no children, nobody in there, and told the other firefighters that everything was clear. Approximately 6 minutes later, a couple of other firefighters went in and found these two children. And I'm going to show you pictures of where they found these two children. According to doctors, if these children had been found roughly 6 to 7 minutes later, more likely than not, they would have lived. Unfortunately, about a week later, they perished. A couple of firefighters came and talked to the chief and said, "Hey, Chief, we went in that house, we were there. It's impossible for them to have done the search as they said they did." And that kicked off the investigation. Ray did a thorough investigation. It was his decision to terminate. At the end of the investigation, that's where it was leading. The mayor didn't want that. The mayor was running for office, and it was a hotly contested race, and wanted Ray to falsify the reports, leave things out, and say that he was going to change the discipline. Ray refused. Ray said no. Number one, 2 children died. Number 2, the mother is highly upset, as any mother would be. And lawsuits are going to be flying. I am not going to lie for you. The mayor asked him again and again. Ray continued to refuse to alter the reports. The chief then went over Ray's head, so to speak, and changed it himself, and then told Ray, "Since I changed it, you go in front of city council and you tell the people it was your decision." Ray said, "It wasn't my decision." He was confronted by more than 20 family members and friends of the parents of the deceased, and they were very angry because Ray had given his word to the community based on conversations with the chief as to what would happen. And the family felt betrayed, and rightly so. Ray explained to them, that was not my decision, but his marching orders were to go in front of city council and take the die for the mayor, and Ray refused. Ray said, "I'm not going to do that." Chief said, "If you don't do it, there's no place for you around here." 9 days later, after the election occurred, he brought Ray in and he fired Ray. That's what has brought this federal lawsuit today in the United States Federal Court for the Eastern District Southern Division. We're on a mission to get Ray Barton justice. We have a few photos that we'd like to show you, and you have a report. We've given you the report. Firefighters indicated that the house was smoldering, but in reality, here's a photo. The fire started downstairs, ventilated its way upstairs, into this upstairs bedroom. It started in a wall. The whole house was not engulfed like they claim. It started downstairs. Now, this is the bedroom right here where one of the kids was laying, right here in the doorway. Right here in the doorway. This is the room that they claimed they were in and they didn't see anybody. One of the kids was on the floor right in the doorway. The other one was on the bed. Just to give you an idea of the proximity, if you're standing outside of the bedroom door, this tote box here indicates where the child's body was laying. If you went into this room, there's no way that you could have missed a child. And that house is maybe 1,000 square foot on a good day. This is a view of it standing in the doorway outside of the room. This is where one of the bodies were. How could you go in there and not see this? If you really went in there. What we have here, right across the street, is the fire station. It's less than a 6-minute walk from this fire station to the front porch of that house. These children did not have to die. Chief Barton didn't have to be fired. All that had to be done was a proper investigation and the right thing. You've got investigative paperwork here where these gentlemen wrote things that the chief will tell you, the former chief will tell you, was inconsistent with anybody being where they claimed that they were. When he reviewed this report and went over the facts and evidence and statements, the inescapable conclusion, you couldn't have been in that room. They drew diagrams, and the diagrams showed places that didn't even exist in the house bedroom-wise. What was the chief supposed to do? He knew what he was supposed to do, and that was the right thing, and he got fired for it. Any questions you have for the chief now, he would be happy to answer.
Hi, can you hear me?
Can hear you, Don. Go ahead.
Hi, Chief Barton.
How are you?
Is it possible, you talked about 6 minutes. Is it possible that the children, when the firefighters in question here initially went into the room, is it possible the children could have been hiding and in that 6-minute time span came out from hiding and maybe collapsed in between that time before the other firefighters came into the room? Because there was a 6-minute time frame here. And is it possible?
No, I don't think so. Because in that room where the children were found, 2 children couldn't have fit in a small closet that was actually in that room. And there was no other place for those children to be hiding. The bed was sitting, the foundation was on the floor, so they couldn't have been under the bed. And you're taught in search and rescue, the first thing you do is check closets and up under the bed, because generally kids will hide. And so, but that room in particular, the closet, it was a very small closet. And again, the bed was on the floor on the foundation, so it was nowhere for them to hide under the bed. And both kids could not have possibly fit in the small closet that was actually in that bedroom.
And you couple that, Diane, or Dawn. With the, thank you, Dawn, with the drawings of where they claimed they were not in the room. They were not in the room. So I understand that question is full of supposition. They were not even in the room. So we don't even get to that quantum leap. If, coulda, shoulda, woulda. They were not in the room, point blank, period. Next question.
So what, I mean, I know it's a speculation, but I mean, the question begs is why, I mean, these firefighters are hired to protect and serve and save people. Why would these firefighters lie and say they did it?
Why would Raymond Barton lie and say the investigation was skewed? It's not about why they would lie. You have to ask them that. You have to ask them that. It's about Raymond, Barton telling the truth. And that question about why would they lie? Why would Mr. Barton lie? The evidence shows that Mr. Barton is absolutely correct. The evidence shows that those firefighters weren't in the room. So it's not about why would they lie. You have to ask them that. Next question.
Why do you believe they lied?
Same answer.
Can I ask him that?
Same answer. That's speculation.
Okay.
I have another.
Clear so that we don't misrepresent this. Can you explain in the report how it was that you determined that they lied? I'm just a little confused about what they wrote in the report.
As Attorney Reed stated, even in one of the rooms, the firefighter described going into two different rooms. And in a Laudermill hearing, he drew where it was two bedrooms on. When you enter the home on the right side, it was only one bedroom.
Okay, so he drew.
He was drawing a door, two bedroom doors, like he went in one room and came out. In his report, he described going into two separate rooms. And basically, he described going into three bedrooms on that second floor when there was actually two bedrooms and a bathroom on the floor. So,
and what you also need to be asking, Don, is why was Raymond fired? It's not about necessarily why the firefighters, are lying or not. Why did Ray get fired? Ask the mayor that. Next question.
When the mayor told you to lie, were you surprised?
yes,
What? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well,
Why was it so surprising?
because I explained, I said, you and everybody know that the mother and father both have attorneys. And I said, if you think I'm going to go in the courtroom, put my hand on the Bible and lie, I'm not going to purge myself.
Had the mayor ever asked you to lie or mislead on a report or a budget or anything else you did officially for the city?
No,
So this was just about trying to keep the unions on his side going into the election. And then he sacrificed you afterwards as part of that. Is that a proper way of describing it?
that's the way I feel because, like you said, I've been in the fire department. I was in the Flint Fire Department 34 years. I served. I actually left for a year. The former mayor, Karen Weaver, called me back, and Mayor Neely kept for an additional 3 years. I explained to him when he gave me an option to be fired to resign that I hadn't did anything. I've always followed his direction, but at this time I refused to lie for him.
What was the lie the mayor wanted you to tell?
He wanted me to say that final decision was made by me when it was not, to suspend the guys with pay. And then also when they were given a 2-week, they were given 2-week suspension after the investigation. One firefighter Signaki, had resigned. Zotek was given a 2-week suspension, and then he had to receive some training.
Yeah, what about the third? Is there a third firefighter that went in the house first, a black firefighter that also resigned because of this?
No, not to my knowledge. Nobody,
Okay.
no firefighter has resigned.
Next question.
So that he wanted you to say that it was your decision to suspend them with pay.
Yes,
And you said, no, I want that.
yes,
Okay, all right. And you wanted them fired, correct?
right. I said the union has a process, and I felt as fire chief and as a mayor, it's a process. We get paid not to make those mistakes. I understand some mistakes can be made. 2 kids lost their life. They could have filed a grievance processes, go through the grievance, go to arbitration. If the arbitrator ruled that it was excessive discipline, they would have given their jobs back. If they ruled it was substantiated, the arbitrators would. I did it that way. That took the politics out of it. It took that decision, and I was willing to stand on that decision if you followed the decision that I had made.
Couple more questions.
Chief,
Next
how difficult
question.
has it been to get to the place where we are today? You've loved this city, you've served this city, like you said, for 34 years, and now to end up in this situation.
It's hard. I'm saying it's hard. I'm going through it there. It's because I did serve the city for over 34 years. And people know I gave a lot of my own time from teaching CPR to working with babysitter club. the guys from Flint is here, you know, you've seen me a little bit of everything. And so to do that, I feel like a person in the military getting a dishonorable discharge. The problem is I ain't doing anything wrong. All I did was tell the truth.
What do you ultimately want to see happen?
My name clear. Like, cause like I said, I feel like I said, got a dishonorable discharge. I felt like I should have been at what all I have given to the city, I should have felt like I should have been able to go out on my own terms, not be fired, be told to either resign or get fired.
Mr. Reed.
Yes, sir.
If you could explain the financial damages that you're seeking, because it looks like it's what, $75,000, $10 million.
What you have to do in federal court is, in order to be in federal court on diversity jurisdiction or federal question, the damages have to be 75,000 or greater. So that's why you see in there, the original figure is 75,000. We're seeking 10 million in damages altogether, not on each count, but as a conglomerate, as a whole. And we feel that that is justified. We feel that that is something that is absolutely necessary in this particular case because of the way this was done. It was completely unfair. It was completely took Ray off guard for a person that has done what he has done for this community for so many years, consistently.
I have one more question.
I'm sorry, as what?
I've seen some issues of race being raised in this, and I'm not, is there, I don't believe it's part of the lawsuit, but Chief, do you feel there are racial undertones?
Sometimes you have to consider that being a predominantly Black area, financial area, you know, friends financially distressed, but it would got the same treatment if we were in different areas. And I'm saying, and you see it in the fire service in the city of Powell. On one side of town, they'll go in and bust all the windows out. When you're trying to ventilate the house, it's best to keep windows intact. So when you set up positive pressure fans, you can get the smoke out. And how sometimes it's like, always have to consider. Yes.
Did the firefighters try and correct their report when they did you say, hey, this isn't right? And they came back and said, I'm gonna, you know, well, we made a mistake. Did they do that?
I actually gave them an opportunity when I told them, like, for one, it's only one bedroom on this side. And the other guy, and I said, nowhere in here, how you all talking about missing kids, and they're coming back in. And Sergeant Sagaki actually told me why was it so important for him to admit that he made a mistake. And I said, if you can't admit that you made a mistake, that's a problem in itself.
Sure. And what about their claim that this was a room hidden behind a room? Is that, you know, that they looked in the initial room, but where the kids were was in a room behind that room, so they couldn't see them.
They keep saying it's a room behind the room. It's a 5-foot opening at least. Okay. And that's the picture you got where the bed is at.
Sure.
It's the room that was hidden inside of a room. It's a 5-foot opening. There's no way possible to miss that room.
All right.
Any thoughts on Mr. Zoltek being hired by Bay City?
That was on Bay City. Again, people, I guess, deserve chances. I just thought, like, at the city of Flint, with what had happened, I felt comfortable with termination. And like I said, again, as a chief, I would never accept like some mistakes. And because I did serve on the union, so I'm not anti-union, it's a process. And so for me to say it was just a mistake and 2 kids lost their life, that's something I couldn't have. Like, the people in the community, like I say, have a lot of respect for me, and I want them to feel like they're getting the best service possible at the city.
Thank you all very much for coming.
May I ask one more question? Or no?
Sure.
Okay, I just wanted to, because I've been a mayoral appointee before. And when you are an appointee, you work at the pleasure of the mayor or whoever appointed you. So, Ray, you know, he worked for the mayor, and the mayor has said when we talked to him in the past that he just decided to go in a different direction, which he can do as the mayor. So are you guys saying that, you know, Mr. Barton could never be fired or, you know, never be dismissed? Because as an appointee, that can happen at any time.
That's a very interesting question. The answer is you just can't terminate somebody for the circumstances that we've outlined in the complaint. I understand you may have been on the administration, and in all due respect, if you review the complaint, you will see that there are certain exceptions. What you're saying kind of equates with the Michigan at-will doctrine. There are exceptions to that. If you read the complaint and you see the allegations that we made, you will understand why this is a wrongful termination.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
All right, you all.
What's the timetable on this?
Let me